Okay, good morning everyone. So today my name is Marita Yalpadenta and I would like to have a presentation about the case of negotiation and collective bargaining, the case of provincial minimum wage UMP negotiation in Indonesia. So what is UMP negotiation in Indonesia? So every year, Indonesia sets the provincial minimum wage, which is the UMP, through negotiation between the government, labor unions, and employer in 2024. Unions demanded a 15 until 20% raise, employers over 3 until 4%, and the Jakarta governor approved 3.6%, causing union protest. So the case shows the conflict between fairness and business efficiency in Indonesia's wage setting process. So here are for the case background. The first one is each year Indonesia set new provincial minimum wage through tripartite discussion, which is and then the second one is stakeholders include the government as mediator, labor union as worker, and advocates, and employee as cost control. So the negotiation outcomes reflect both political and economic bargaining power. So here are the legal framework, which is the first one is the process governed by the law number 13, 2003 and on manpower, Indonesian Ministry of Manpower. And it was revised by PP number 36 of 2021 under the Omnibus Law, which used a formula combining inflation and GDP growth. And the next one is the benchmark of which is Kebutuhan Hidup Layak, which is KHL, representing a decent living standard. So this is for the stakeholders and their interests. The first one, we have the stakeholders, which is the labor union, which is KSPI, KBSI, and KSPSI. And their interest is push for wage increase above inflation to meet a living cost. And then the strategy is protest and public demonstrate. And we have the employee, which is the APindo. They aim to maintain cost efficiency and competitiveness. And their strategy is use economic data and negotiation tactics. And the last one, we have the governments, which is they strive for social stability and favorable investment, which is climate, and acts the mediator and final decision maker. And here are the negotiation process. We have the data collection, which is the provincial wage councils gather data on inflation, GDP, and growth, and also the KHL. And then the tripartite wage council meeting labor unions, employers, and the government negotiate proposed rates. And we have the governor as decrease, which is the governor finalize the UMP decisions. And then the last one is implementation. New UMP applies on January 1st each year. So for the conflict is the first one, there is no persistent gap between UMP and the real cost of living. So the gap is UMP and the real cost is not stable, is not really is not cover all of the living costs, and then the wages formula in PP 36 in 2021 limits the union's ability to negotiate in the regional disparities result in unequal wage across province. And then the last conflict with this issue often leads to labor strikes and public protests during wage setting periods. So this is the case example, which is the UMP of Jakarta 2024, which is the labor unions demand 15 until to 20% increase, the SBI press release. So the employers, which is Apindo, propose only 3 until 4% following the official formula. And then the governor's decision, an increase of 3.6% to 5.6 million. And then the outcome is reflects a distribution bargaining process where both sides aim to maximize their own This is a collective bargaining analysis, which is the negotiation type was distributed bargaining, focused on zero-sum outcomes, and then there was a clear power imbalance. Employer relied on economic data and legal frameworks, while union relied on mobilization. And then the last one is the compromise outcomes maintain industrial peace but limit real wage improvement for the workers. So here are the managerial lessons. They use data-driven negotiation, so wage discussion should be based on objective data like inflation and productivity, not only emotion. And then the second one is build trust and transparency, which is they have to be open communication between the union, employer, and government reduce industrial conflict. And then the next one is engage all stakeholders, which is they have to involving every party and show fair and accepted outcomes. And then the last one is balance, equity, and efficiency. They have to fair wages improve worker morale while maintaining business competitive. And here are for the solution. The first one is strengthen repeat dialogue, which is the regular forums between union and employee prevents escalation during the negotiation. And then second solution is form joint wage data teams, share research unit, improve transparency and wage calculation. And then the train to negotiator, improve union employee representative negotiation and economic analysis skills. And then they have to shift the collaborative bargaining, which is they have to focus on mutual benefits like productivity and welfare, not just wage size. And then the last solution is they have to evaluate policy impact, which is they have to monitor the result to improve future wage setting mechanism. And yeah, that's all for my presentation. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and have a good day.